let's get back to. Exactly. I want to go through American and British propaganda in between, like, real news.
20 years ago, US forces with the UK and other allies in order to oust dictator Saddam Hussein. It was part of what the US called its war on terror, begun by President George W. Bush after the 9/11 terrorist attack in 2001. Our international editor Jeremy Bowen has been taking a look back at the consequences and sent this report from Mosul.
A lot of the old city of Mosul hasn't been rebuilt yet. It was destroyed in 2017 during the war to eradicate the jihadists of the Caliphate of Islamic State. It was really nasty, house-to-house fighting. And it went on for months. I was here at the time, and a lot of civilians, as well as fighters, were killed. The rise and fall.
Blowback season 1 covers this stuff so perfectly. For the record, if you have any interest in fully understanding like what happened in the lead up and also aftermath, highly recommend Blowback season 1.
Fall of Islamic State, also known as ISIS, was part of an unfolding catastrophe that engulfed Iraq and was felt right across the Middle East. Now, a lot of it goes back to March 2003. That was when the Americans and the British and their allies invaded Iraq. The Americans called the massive air raids with which they opened the war shock and awe. They claimed, wrongly, that this was the way to make...
Wow, wrongly. Well, I guess the British have, despite their own personal involvement, I guess that at least the British broadcasters are openly stating it. Notice how it's very different from the American assessment of the situation.
Make the Middle East safer for everyone. Within weeks, they'd removed the Iraqi dictator, Saddam Hussein. Another false claim was that he had weapons of mass destruction. The US Navy flew President George W. Bush out to an aircraft carrier where he declared victory.
The tyrant has fallen and Iraq is free.
He could not have been more wrong. The Americans hadn't worked out how they were going to replace Saddam Hussein's regime. In the end, they imposed a system that turned sectarian and ethnic groups against each other. In the years of chaos and violence that followed, hundreds of thousands of Iraqis were killed. No one knows how many exactly, as armed groups fought each other, fought the Americans, and killed each other's civilians. Much of Mosul and other cities has been rebuilt. There are bright spots. As for the West, the Americans and the British, the invaders, a lot of the world just laughs when they talk about peace or international law because of what happened here. But what matters most is the effect on the lives of millions of people, not just in Iraq, but...
That's why, to that fucking chatter, Bowies, I still remember your name, motherfucker. When you come to me and you talk about the International Criminal Court, when you talk about Vladimir Putin, okay, and you're like, dude, oh, what? How dare you? How dare you fucking talk shit about the ICC? Like, we have a fucking law in our country that dictates that we can fucking invade The Hague if any American service member or even family member of like an American service member, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is ever extradited to be under the legal scrutiny of the International Criminal Court.
Across the wider Middle East, who suffered and died because of the invasion and its consequences. Jeremy Bowen, BBC News, Mosul.